Colonel James Okafor has known what the seventh trigger is for 6 years. He has not told his team. He has not told his commanders. He has not told the 17 world governments who believe they are receiving his complete and unredacted briefings. He has told one person, a disgraced astronomer in Portland who was supposed to have forgotten everything. And the reason he has kept this secret is the most chilling piece of military logic ever committed to a classified file. The seventh trigger is not a technology we develop. It is not a weapon we build or a signal we send. The seventh trigger is the moment we try to destroy Object Patient. The act of attacking it is the final confirmation it has been waiting 4 billion years to receive. And right now, in a hardened facility beneath the Nevada desert, a general with 3 stars on his shoulder has just given the order to do exactly that. Okafor has 11 hours to stop a war that starting it would lose. The decision came down at 0400 hours. For 6 years, the official position had been observation only. Watch the object. Map the object. Do not, under any circumstances, provoke it. That position held as long as the people making decisions believed they had time. Then the secondary pulse changed frequency. For 6 years, Object Patient had emitted a slow, regular scanning pulse, a heartbeat steady and patient. 41 days ago, that heartbeat accelerated. The intervals began shrinking, compressing towards something none of the analysts wanted to name. It looked, for all the world, like a countdown reaching its final phase. General Marcus Reed read the data and made the only decision a military mind trained on terrestrial threats could make. If something is about to fire on you, you fire first. He authorized a kinetic intercept, a weaponized version of the technology NASA proved on the DART mission in 2022, aimed at the one object Okafor knows must never be touched. The intercept vehicle launches in 11 hours. 6 years ago, Okafor was handed a fragment, not a message. A fragment of Object Patient's own internal logic, reconstructed from its scanning pulses by cryptographers who spent 4 years decoding the mathematics embedded in its behavior. What they pulled out was not a language. It was a decision tree, the object's own operating instructions written by whatever built it 4 billion years ago. And buried in that decision tree was the seventh condition. The first 6 triggers were passive observations. Has the species developed weapons, left its planet, begun building self-replicating machines? Things Object Patient could confirm just by watching. The seventh was different. It was not something it observed about us. It was something it provoked us into doing. The logic was elegant and merciless. A civilization that detects a potential threat in its own solar system and chooses to attack it has demonstrated 3 things at once: the capability to act in deep space, the willingness to use force preemptively, and the strategic instinct to eliminate rivals before they strike. Those 3 traits combined define exactly the kind of species that becomes dangerous on a galactic scale. Object Patient was not waiting to see if we would become a threat. It was waiting to see if we would prove it. An attack is not an act of defense, it is a confession. Okafor went to General Reed at 0600 with everything he had. He laid out the decision tree. He explained the seventh trigger. He told Reed in the plainest language he could find that the intercept was not a weapon aimed at Object Patient. It was a key, and launching it would unlock the one outcome they had spent 6 years trying to prevent. Reed listened to all of it. Then he asked the question that ended the conversation. You're telling me this thing wants us to attack it. So what's your alternative? We sit here and let it finish its countdown and do nothing. Okafor had no answer Reed would accept, because the honest answer was the hardest thing a soldier can ever say. We do nothing. We sit still. We accept that we cannot win this, and we do not give it the confession it is waiting for, and we pray that passivity reads, in its 4 billion-year-old logic, as the absence of threat. Reed had spent 40 years in uniform. Every instinct told him that doing nothing in the face of an existential threat was not strategy. It was surrender. He thanked Okafor for his analysis. He did not stand down the launch. Here is what neither man said out loud because neither could prove it. There is a version of this where Okafor is wrong. The decision tree his team reconstructed is a best guess interpretation of an alien logic 4 billion years old, decoded from indirect signals by humans who have never seen anything like it. Every analyst attached the same caveat. We believe this is what it means. We cannot be certain. What if the seventh trigger isn't the attack? What if the accelerating pulse isn't a countdown to fire, but a countdown to leave? A scout finishing its survey and preparing to transmit home. What if doing nothing means letting it broadcast our coordinates to whatever sent it, and the intercept is the only window humanity will ever get to stop that signal? In that version, Reed is right. Okafor's caution dooms us. The trap is not the attack. The trap is the hesitation. Two men, two readings of the same impossible data, one launch window, and no way to know which interpretation ends the species. This is the true nature of war against something you cannot understand. It is not fought with weapons, it is fought with assumptions. And you do not find out which assumption was correct until it is far too late to choose the other one. At 1400 hours with 1 hour left on the launch clock, Okafor made a decision of his own. He could not stop the launch through the chain of command. Reed outranked him, and the order was lawful. But 11 years as lead analyst had given him access to one thing Reed did not have. The intercept vehicle's guidance ran on targeting data. Targeting data that came from Okafor's team. What he did with that data in the final hour does not appear in any file. Whether he corrupted the coordinates, whether he widened the miss margin so the intercept would pass harmlessly by, whether he did nothing at all and simply watched the clock run down, having decided Reed's reading might be the right one after all. We do not know. What we know is that the intercept launched on schedule at 1500 hours. We know it reached object patient's position 4 days later, and we know that what happened in the seconds after has been classified at a level that does not officially exist. There is exactly one piece of public information from that day. Every deep space monitoring station on Earth recorded the same event at the same instant. A single pulse from object patient, not the slow heartbeat, not the accelerating countdown. One pulse, enormous, directed, and then silence. The scanning stopped. The countdown stopped. The object that had emitted signals for 6 years went completely, perfectly dark. The analysts have two interpretations, and they map exactly onto the two men who fought over the launch. Okafor's people believe the object went dark because the seventh trigger was checked. The attack came, the confession was made, and it stopped scanning because it no longer needs to assess us. The assessment is complete. What comes next does not require observation. Reed's people believe the opposite. The object went dark because the intercept worked. We hit it before it could transmit, and the single pulse was its last act. A damaged system firing off whatever it could before it died. One of those interpretations means we won. The other means the war hasn't started yet. Colonel James Okafor retired 3 months after that day. He lives now in a place that isn't on any record. He has never spoken publicly about object patient, the seventh trigger, or what he did in the final hour before launch. But the astronomer in Portland received one final message from him. 3 words sent the day the object went dark. It worked. Maybe. We are still here. The sky is still silent. And nobody, not Reed, not Okafor, not the analysts still monitoring that dark and motionless point between Jupiter and Saturn, can tell you whether that silence means we survived, or whether it means something is already on its way. This has been Dark Signal. If this transmission reached you, subscribe to at Dark Signal Stories 13, because the next transmission comes from much closer to home. That lands just under 9,400 characters, safely inside the 11 Labs free tier. Want the image prompts and full SEO package for episode 4 next?